I talk with people every week who are considering a move to the Triangle region of North Carolina, and they come from all over the map: Florida, California, Colorado, New York, and even some internationally. And I hear the same concerns time and time again. Am I making the right choice, and will I like living there? Well, as someone who moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, back in 2021 from New York City, I know a thing or two about that transition. And today, I'm going to answer one of the most commonly asked questions I get. Do I regret moving to Raleigh, North Carolina? But before I tackle that, my name is Matt Martin, and I'm a Raleigh-based realtor. I've helped tons of clients, just like you, relocate to the Triangle region of North Carolina. And if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. Okay, so people don't usually come right out and ask if I regret moving here, but the undertones exist in other questions, like, do you miss New York? Are you happy you moved there? Have you found there's enough to do there? You get the idea. So let me just rip the Band-Aid off and answer the question. I absolutely do not regret moving to Raleigh, North Carolina, though that doesn't mean it's all roses and sunshine here either. So let's jump into what I've loved about living here, what surprised me, and what drives me absolutely crazy. One thing that everyone comments on when they first come to the Triangle region is just how green and lush it is. It's truly something that sets us apart from almost anywhere else in the country I've been to, and it's one of the best things about living in Raleigh. We're nicknamed the City of Oaks for a reason, but it's also the pines, crepe myrtles, dogwoods, and thousands of other species that create an incredibly beautiful canopy everywhere you go. I'm originally from Southern California, which obviously has its own natural beauty, but when I was just back home recently, I caught myself looking around everywhere I went, wondering where the heck all the trees were. Those trees form the backdrop to our 150-mile plus greenway network that's great for biking, running, or just casually strolling. They surround our beautiful lakes, the largest of which include Jordan Lake and Falls Lake, which both allow motorized boats. And they dot the literal hundreds of parks we have throughout the region, from small neighborhood playgrounds to the 5,500 plus acre Umstead Park. But there's a downside to all those trees. The most obvious is that they produce pollen, especially in the springtime. And until you've seen every outdoor surface covered in a half-inch layer of yellow pollen and the sky glowing a literal yellow haze, I know I never could have imagined it. So yes, if you have allergies, you're gonna be downing Benadryl for a few weeks each springtime. But the other downside is a bit less obvious. All those trees block you from really ever seeing a horizon, which means orientating yourself here can be a bit difficult. Truly, you can be driving along the freeway completely unaware that behind that wall of trees is the Lenovo Center or a large neighborhood. So GPS will quickly become your best friend when you move here, and even years later, I'm still relying on it daily. But what's the point of all that beauty if you can't get outside to enjoy it? And that's another thing we mostly love about living in Raleigh. When we were looking to leave New York City, we didn't want to forego the 4 seasons altogether. We just didn't want to deal with 6 months of winter anymore, and we couldn't stand the sweltering heat of the summer while waiting for the subway in the air-conditioned-less stations. My God, I don't miss either of those. The Triangle gets 4 full seasons, but the extremes, summer and winter, are much shorter versions than you'd find in many parts of the country. That means you're pretty good to get outside year-round, as even the days that start in the 20s during the winter usually climb up into the upper 40s and low 50s. And the spring and fall are perfect. We've actually sat outside for Thanksgiving dinner multiple years running. Now, I said we mostly love the weather here, so let's talk about that caveat. The summers are still hot and humid, though. Unless you're living in Southern California, that's gonna be the same almost everywhere. But July and August can still be oppressively hot, and it does make getting outside to enjoy the natural beauty a bit less appealing. And then there's the storms. Again, if you're from the South or the Midwest, you're used to severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings, but this California native right here, I was not. And while I love a good nighttime lightning storm, There are a few more storms overall than I'd ideally like. But again, that's what keeps everything so green and beautiful here, so it's a trade-off. All right, let's talk about something I hear all the time from people. Is there enough to do in the Triangle, or am I going to be bored? Now, this one is super personal as everyone's definition of active is different, but we've been very pleasantly surprised by all there is to do in the region. Between the various downtowns, there's always a weekend festival or celebration taking place, and they usually revolve around good food, beer, or live music. I've made 4 different videos, one for each season, of the major events that take place around the Triangle each year, which I'll link below. If concerts are more your thing, we have multiple live music venues that feature some of the biggest names out there. Just this year, we've had Pearl Jam, Katy Perry, Teddy Swims, Benson Boone, and tons of others. And since most of our venues are on the smaller side, you get to see your favorite artists in a more intimate setting. If you're into the theater, we have the Durham Performing Arts Center, or DPAC, which is where all the big touring Broadway shows come through. And we've already talked about outdoor activities, from trails to parks to getting out on the water. But we're also just 2 hours to the beach and 3 hours to the mountains, so you can have a total change of scenery pretty easily. We'll often just day trip to the beach from here, leave at 9 a.m. to be on the beach by 11, stay till 4, and be home by dinner. It works out really, really well. So, is Raleigh like New York City with endless stimulation around every corner? No. But will you have plenty of options to keep yourself entertained year-round? I think so. All right, let's talk about another important one for me, food. Now, if you know me, you'll know I couldn't live anywhere without a good food scene, and thankfully, Raleigh's is booming. Since we moved here in 2021, I can probably count at least 10 new amazing restaurants that have opened, and honestly, it's likely way more than that. You can check out my video of my favorite restaurants in Raleigh right here, but it's actually missing quite a few that have opened since I recorded it. Every time someone comes to visit, they're also blown away by the great food scene here, so I know I'm not just being biased. We also have a really great microbrewery scene, and North Carolina in general makes some really great beer and ciders. And going back to that mild weather we have, most of the breweries have large outdoor spaces with picnic tables and lawn games for everyone to come out and enjoy. So if you're worried about moving from a big city with tons of food options, you're likely going to be just fine in the Triangle region. Okay, so one thing that's been a big surprise is just how big the Triangle region is. I don't know about y'all, but when I'd hear people saying Raleigh-Durham, I thought it was because the cities were right next door to each other and super close. But that's not really true. The Triangle is technically the region that's formed when you connect the 3 major Tier 1 universities we have here: UNC Chapel Hill in Chapel Hill, Duke in Durham, and NC State in Raleigh. Right in the middle is the Research Triangle Park, which is the hub of the Triangle's economy. And because of that, most people now define the Triangle as a region about 30 minutes in any direction from there. So you've got places like Pittsboro and Hillsboro to the far west, Wake Forest and even Youngsville to the north, Wendell and Zebulon to the east, and Clayton, Fuquay-Varina, and Evermore, Angier to the south. Once you live here, your life will mostly be focused on the part of town you live in, but when people are looking to move here, they're usually floored by just how expansive it is. For example, if you're trying to get from Zebulon to Pittsboro, plan to be in the car for at least an hour. I've had clients visit for the first time and drive 500 plus miles during the course of their visit, just trying to see as much as they can. Getting around is further complicated by the fact that we don't have much of a public transportation network here. Yes, we do have a decent bus network, and Amtrak does run from Raleigh to Cary to Durham about 4 to 5 times per day, but we don't have a light rail that connects the various hubs of the Triangle. There's been rumblings of one for years and years, but recent cuts in federal funding have all but assured it's not happening anytime soon. And this one drives me absolutely crazy because even though I wouldn't use it all the time, I'd definitely, for example, go out in downtown Durham a lot more if I didn't have to worry about driving home. But really, one of the things I love best about living in the Triangle region is that it's just an easier life. That presents itself in a lot of different ways. It's the friendly people. It's running into people you know at the grocery store or while sitting outside at a restaurant. It's the conversations you have with your neighbors or complete strangers. It's the lack of honking, the lack of road rage, and the focus on balance in life instead of just work, work, work. Though I'm still definitely guilty of bringing some of my New York and LA here when it comes to that last one. There's a relaxed attitude here that I really appreciate, even when I sometimes want to just scream, "Hurry up, will you?" But then I remember, wait, that's why we left New York City. So, do I regret moving here? Absolutely not. Will you? Well, the best way to find out is by coming to check it out for yourself. So, if you're ready to explore the Triangle region in North Carolina or kick off your home hunt here, I'd love to be your guide. You can reach me by phone, email, or text, and you can find all my contact information in the link below or by scanning this QR code right here with your phone. And if you liked this video, I have a whole catalog of others all about moving to, living in, and buying real estate in and around Raleigh, North Carolina. Here's another one here that you may like, so give it a click to keep on watching.